me, darlings. Am I too late to the party?
I mean, I'm done reviewing a game, so maybe.
I am so sorry. I was so busy hunting demons with my pal Mandy.
Her?
Your pal?
Yeah, surprisingly, we got along for over 2 months since I got possessed.
So much so we became friends.
Right, and it seems like you have a different voice from before. I miss the old one, though.
No matter. You'll get used to it. And how's your little store, Truce? I know you're behind that disguise.
It's doing fine.
Oh, I thought you were the Mystique one. But regardless, good to know. You can still work for us from time to time if you're short on cash, honey. Maybe even joining us full time, just like old times.
I should have taken over. I apologize for this little incident. I'll be seeing you sometime next year.
Okay then, see ya. Hey Paula, nice meeting you once more. You too. But I won't be like Tris this time. I heard you're living here now, so I followed suit afterwards and do the same shtick of getting people into trouble for fucking me. Damn Nordic model. Yeah, it's harming willing sex workers more, really. But welcome to Vancouver, Paula. You'll be having more fun here than in Synopsis.
Paula, I still don't forgive you for your crimes, so if you please, get the fuck out of my house and never come back.
Yeah, I really should go.
Why didn't you tell me you're now friends with that jerk before?
I didn't know you were gonna come back tonight. God damn it! By the way, change of tone I know, but do you have the time?
It's past 1 a.m.
Oh good, let's cheer up a bit. Rave Racer 4, because I don't want to waste my time covering those in between. No contest is needed anyway. Oh look, another abandoned franchise, that's sad. Rave Racer started as what was supposed to be a sequel to an MX-5 simulator, but it got turned into an arcade sensation we all know and somewhat love in 1993, even if it involved a lot of developing crunch. It's an industry tradition even back then, and like all traditions, they tend to suck. Regardless, with its engaging gameplay that's hard to master, it was popular enough to warrant a console port for the newfangled PlayStation. And another tradition had begun. It eventually got sequels including the arcade-exclusive Rave Racer in 95 and the console-exclusive Rage Racer in 96, which retakes Gran Turismo's car RPG elements with its career mode. Fun games on their own. Please don't watch my Rage Racer video, it's all stolen content in there and I sound like shit. Anyway, with the successes of those games under their belt, Namco decided to have one last go on the PS1 before they head to the next generation, this time being a lot different than the last. Rave Racer Type 4, and if you say it without the third word, the fans will literally eat you. New Diabetes just dropped. First released in Japan in late 1998, it's considered the best Rave Racer for the PS1, if not the best ever. I don't know, I still think the Vita iteration is the best. Oh well, let's see if this game will change my mind in some capacity. Yeah, we're back to racing games, but I'll try again sometime later, right? Here's an intro where the series girl Reiko Nagase wakes up and walks to, I assume, her workplace, while race cars drive around loudly. What, are there no buses around the city? It's a really iconic intro nonetheless, and with Reiko breaking a shoe heel and hail a racer to pick her up. Quite charming. It's 10 times better than Rage Racer intro. Time for the yellow to soothe you in. For the first time ever, there is no split-screen multiplayer at the cost of system link. There is also time trial, which is what you expect, but the main attraction is the Grand Prix mode. Grand Prix? Grand Prix?
You're a grand prick.
Welcome to Real Racing Roots 1999, where you partake in 8 races divided into 3 heats. Winning the podium or at least second the first and second heats respectively is enough to progress, but in the final GP you'll have to win every race to finish it, so like the final copy Looney Tunes Space Race. Still, Rave Racer 4 takes a more grounded approach compared to the previous games. While there's still the fancy drifts and the arcade physics, the looks and even the narrative are a bit more realistic in a way. You choose one of 4 teams named after Namco's classic arcades from the 80s, and Solvalo. Each of them have a manager and a story to tell. Oh shit, there's a story in this game? First, there's Micro Mouse Mappy, owned by Sophie Chevalier. Hey, I'm also called Sophie, who's so bad at car stuff that she needs the help of her manager to learn a thing or two. For an arcade-style game, I didn't expect the backstory to be that realistic. Next is the newly founded Pack Racing Club, managed by former driver Shinji Yazaki, who has a dark secret he fully regrets doing. Then there's a veteran team, RT Sovolo, managed by hot stuff Anki Gilbert, who wants to get the perfect race, as in a perfect streak. And finally, there's Dig Racing Team, a former champion team in the past, but currently having financial and performance problems, as well as pressure from the higher-ups. So like Williams, basically. Man, does it look a lot like... well, pick one. Choosing a team not only gives you a different color scheme for the cars you drive, but also the difficulty for your playthrough. For example, Dig's cars tend to be understeery and not as quick, while Mappy's cars are much easier to handle. Now it's time to choose a manufacturer. Two of them make grip cars and the other two make drift cars. I'll break them up later in the video. Right, let's start the first heat! I'm no digital foundry, so I'm go all Gorhat shading and consistent 30 FPS for like 10 minutes or so. But yeah, it's so beautiful for a PS1 game. It looks better than GT2 even. It's the art style that gets me. There's the whole Gorhat shading, which is really welcome as it makes the car smooth, and the steering and lighting is all great. There's the pop-up and warping, but it's tolerable and at least better than Daytona USA on the Saturn. Christ! And I love the yellow aesthetic of the menus and approaches in Grand Prix mode. For sound, I'm not a big fan of the car noises at all. I'd put it at the same place as the Miata from Gran Turismo. It sounds like a trumpet. While the conversations are entirely in text, the announcer is here, as is tradition, providing motivation for the player for when you're about to pass the leader car. A bit annoying, but still tolerable. Music is just so fantastic, all composed by the Namco sound team. Takahashi, Okubo, Sakai, Nakanishi, Nakagawa, they all must be head-patted. Unlike the previous games, especially the first two which is all techno vomit, the soundtrack has a more funky beat, very much influenced by house, acid, soul, the good stuff. Hey, the music started to get good! It's more cheery, more calm, with a few hard-pounding songs here too, but they're tasteful to say the least. JPEG Mafia fans, do not interact! As you can see, this is an arcade racer, and like all of them, there tends to be a learning curve compared to Simcades. In fact, this has a bigger learning curve. It's Ridge Racer, not Mario Kart, but also not F-Zero, thankfully. The cars handle great, and while they tend to understeer, that can be remedied by doing special tricks depending on the handling style. There's of course two of them depending on the marquee you chose. Ash Solo and Tarazi make cars that stick with the corners more, while Ash Luto and Lizard, later Denver, make cars that require to drift in tight corners. For grip cars, you brake on a corner to earn some better response with the tires. They are my favorite actually, and you will know more why once I talk about drift cars. I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for saying it, but I love brake to drift. It's just a simple way to drift, way better for beginners too. You just tap the brake and there you go. This is why I love Burnout a lot, among other things. In R4 though, it's a lot different. To do a drift, you have to lift the gas button off for a little while and then hold it again. Letting go of it is kinda like charging a drift, which can be detrimental if you're not careful. It takes long to correct it yourself and it slows your car down considerably. But it's also a problem when you hold the gas button a little earlier because you get a short drift and then you get a sudden grip which can cut you off guard. I had that incident sometimes in Phantom Island Brightest Night. It has the tightest corners, darn it. Finding the perfect balance takes a lot to get used to, but it's still useful and you won't hit any outside walls when you do it. It's a better system than in the previous games, but honestly it's not my favorite. I should be playing the 7th game, but both my PS3s are broken. And since this still isn't Burnout, hitting cars is detrimental too. Hell, it's more than a standard certificate back in the day. Hitting a car or a wall can slow down your car considerably, and while you still catch up to an opponent after it, it's still a sudden drop. Yeah, Rave Racer 4 doesn't fuck around and I have to tolerate it. Not only is driving a car difficult, racing is also terrifying. It's really easy to mess up your chances when getting and staying in first place. The other cars? No problem, unless I mess up a lot. But winning a race, even in the final GP? God damn, this is more horrifying than playing Silent Hill. A single mistake can make or break your race, even if you have your chances. It's like, oh, you're in first place and you're at the final stretch, but then you hit a wall and there goes everything! It's as if this person is Dale Earnhardt. Fuck him. Hey, don't disrespect the dead. If only it was more supportive of the Hans device. And like how choosing a difficulty changes how your car can handle, it can also ramp up the opponent still, which makes it more infuriating. It's still fair and all, but fuck me, I hate it. For cars, you get to earn them depending on the position. If you get first place in the first heat, you get the best car for the second one, same if you win that for the third. Mixing up places in the heats will give you some wild yet slightly worse cars to drive. But if you so happen to place third place in all the first heat races or second in all the second heat ones, all you get is an upgraded version of the car you just drove. Fantastic. Still gives me a challenge though. Want to hear something shocking? The game boasts having over 320 cars to collect. Yes! This many! Although, not entirely. There are repeats that have stuff like upgrades, different tuning, and paint schemes, so the actual number is around 45 unique cars, including the extra trial rides and the bonus one for when you collect all of the cars. It's still a lot for a Rave Racer game though. By the way, that bonus car is the Pac-Man car. Here's something odd. I won the first 4 races of the GP, but I think my game glitched and gave me the Cavalier in my Sophie Absoluto playthrough instead of the Infinito. I don't know if it's for story reasons, but it screws over my car hunting. But that's the thing, if you want to get all the cars, you have to force yourself to finish in specific places to earn the extra cars. Especially if you're part of Team Mappy, where it's all easy peasy. I'm sure she's fine with me slowly staying third. Yes, meaning that you at one point have to win all the races as a dig driver. Yikes! Not only that, but you have to win the GP many times, and honestly it's really exhausting if you're a collector unlike me. I'm more of a casual lass, which is weird to say as a review, but since I don't work on tight schedules for a major publication, I'm very confident to say it. I don't know about you, but the laser bonfire looks a lot like a Ford Fusion NASCAR back when the COTs were a thing. For tracks there's A, which isn't a lot, but for a Rave Racer game it's a fucking revelation, and they take place in 4 different cities and they aren't too long as well. There isn't much of a focus on sunset beaches and coastal towns, as the tracks are more urban-centric, save for the Fukuoka tracks. The only one that is like a typical PS1 Rave Racer track is Out of Blue, where you drive on the docks, but that's pretty much it. By the way, they take place in real places this time instead of some fictional town or some fictional country. It's the only Rave Racer game to do so, if you don't count All Racing Evolution as part of the series. Let's look at the tracks in a bit more detail. There's the first track, Helter Skelter, or is it Helter Shelter? No, it's the former. A great track for beginners, with the slow cars at the start. It teaches the basics of driving and racing without the need of forced tutorials. Quite like it. Anyways, here's Wonder Hill. Pretty nice track with a sunset, good corners to drift here and there, and a spiral to boot. Don't get fooled by the easygoing nature though, because you revisit this place during the GP, and it's a doozy I might add. As we move on to the second heat, you race around the streets of New York, starting at an airport. Which one, JFK or LaGuardia? Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't look very American to me anyway. I've never been to New York, so I don't know if it's accurate. It's still a beautiful track to look at, much like its later version Brightest Night, despite looking all amber. I hate amber. We revisit Yokohama again with a much bluer Out of Blue. It's my favorite because it takes place early in the morning when it's all cloudy, and you drive around the aforementioned docks. There's a 90-degree corner here, so you better anticipate it. Other than that, it's smooth as silk and I love it. Phantom is maddening though. It is the shortest track in the game, but despite that, you're still gonna race 3 laps around. It's so crammed with tight corners to tackle. Surely you're gonna restart the race many times and waste all your chances if you go on hard the first time, and prepare to hit that darn wall with a drift car. Thankfully, there's Brightest Night, where I visit around this town and the big descent to the airport. It's pretty good. Just a reminder not to drive a stage 4 drift car around it, biggest mistake. And then there's this. God, I hate heaven and hell, specifically when you drive a drift car. You're back in Fukuoka again, but since you're driving a fast car, it's not hard to traverse the Wonder Hill section until this part. You have to traverse this jump between the corners that can screw you over if you're not extra careful, and the roads are rather narrow, which makes winning the race as much of a crapshoot as getting a job. Why is no one hiring me? But finally, there's the money shot, shooting hoops. Get it? It's a speedway with long corners set at the LA night during New Year's Eve. It's a fantastic climax to a grueling season, which the fact that it's rather easy compared to the last 3 races certainly helps, and the music that plays during the race moving in circles is fittingly amazing. Winning the final GP, the manager congratulates you and gives your epilogue. Roll credits. Right, story stuff. Someone died over a decade ago? Yeah, and let's not jump into that hole yet. Let me talk about each of the managers, starting with Sophie. Not me, you idiot. Sophie Chevalier, other than being a spoiled brat,
what is your problem, soldier?
is actually on the verge of an arranged marriage by his father while she wishes to win the GP to appease her grandfather, and after the player wins the GP, she renews their contract much to the surprise of everyone. Then there's our Crispman, who's a really nice person who doesn't badmouth you for not being first place in the first 4 races, despite having a lot of pressure from the higher-ups, to the point around the final GP that they want to replace you with someone famous, and he's having none of that. Plus, he deeply misses his family as much as a game developer. After winning it though, Bob receives a call that will be given better pay for the next season, but he rejects it, retiring from being their business running the process. As you can tell, the American boy's story is deeper somehow. And then there's these two, Anki and Shinji. The former is a strict perfectionist who wants to streak from his drivers, while Shinji is a rather cynical figure. That was because he caused an accident that killed Anki's son, Giuliano, in the final race 13 years ago, and when the press came in about his death after PRC is getting notoriety, Shinji decides to come clean and be more happy as the play progresses. Meanwhile, Anki is getting scared that the player might also die like Giuliano after achieving success, so much that they surprised that they survived in the final race. The whole perfectionism was the mask behind a scared individual, which is one of the many parallels to another legend, Enzo Ferrari. Except his son died of an accident instead of a disease, but whatever. Yeah, you wouldn't expect a fucking Ridge Racer game to have such twists and turns, eh? Certainly more interesting than that other Ridge Racer game with a story, if you even call it that. It isn't exactly deep or anything, but I still like it for the replay value, even if you have to skip a lot of stuff during the final GP whenever you try collecting all the cars. Look, just in case, get a save. As expected, any future RR after it came back to the simple procedure of win a race and move on, bitch! Which is so hard for another Ridge Racer with a plot. Yeah, I like stories in my racers, fuck me. After winning at least one Grand Prix, extra trial is unlocked when you race in a one-make event against a super concept car, which is always weird, like a nuclear-powered Le Mans prototype, a jet car, something out of Wipeout, and this tiny OP car. Beat one of them in the 3-lap race and it's unlocked for time trial, woo. I don't like how you have to go to the garage menu and select the fastest available cars you have so that you can participate in all the races smoothly. Speaking of which, in garage mode you can put a decal on a car as well as making your own. Just wanted to bring that up. It's like Rave Racer and I never used it until I was making this review. I can never play the controller well. In conclusion, Ridge Racer Type 4 is really interesting. It is one of the few games that I can think of that gave me the sense of relief and achievement when I finished first for most of the time. You'll get used to its tight gameplay and tricky controls for a while, but damn, it's so exciting. The narrative, while intriguing, is no Metal Gear Solid, but it's no Need for Speed Most Wanted either. Yeah, I said it! While physical copies are rather cheap to come into combat, you can still get on the PS3 store, as long as that service is still up, that is. Get it while you can, because I really recommend it. If you're lucky, you might find one with a second disc, where you get to play the original Ridge Racer at 60 FPS with some changes.
Renegade
sensing he could become the winner of the Battle Bowl ring.
Uh-oh, look it! He caught him!
Into the Diamond Cutter.
Diamond Dallas got him halfway, blocked it! That's hard
Oh,
to change.
hey Alice, how's your Halloween party?
Fantastic! Man, I'm so glad my colleagues were accepting of me as a femboy.
That's a nice cosplay you have. You should have seen what my friends wore yesterday.
Everything okay with you?
I need a cold shower.
So, Mandy's now possessing Marie, huh?
You already knew?
Yep. Got caught by surprise when I got back from college sometime last month. Man, she really wants Lauren, doesn't she?
I feel like this is talking. Both of these lasses need to get over themselves and move on. I'm so tired of this drama. Sophie, don't talk about me like that behind my back. I'm still inside you. Why are you even here anyway? I'm trying to find someone special, remember? Morgan Rogers, that kind person. They're in this world somewhere. I know it. I think she knows it too. Although her top priority is to get me, I recommend is trying to find it too. She wants us both pulled back to hell, and I don't wanna. I still need your help to convince her to quit her job and be with me, safely, in the living realm. Apologies. I'll try my best. Oh, and one day, let me teach him how to make some good Georgian food. I'm sure you like some red rice.